Coming up, a PI fashion emergency.
I used to have these really big balls on the end of it. It weighs down my lips.
Politically incorrect.
Phil's guest tonight, Leeza Gibbons. From Talk Soup, Hal Sparks. Recording artist Biff Naked and Tom Fitton.
Boy, that is millennium love. Thank you. I'm glad you're in a good mood, because, you know, they are scaring the hell out of me with the news. Everything is about how in 10 days the terrorists. Have you heard about this with the millennium? And Clinton was on the news today, said we're doing everything we can. The State Department said, get this, they said for New Year's Eve, avoid being with large crowds. And I'm a scaredy. I'm taking no chances. I'm going to go see KC and the Sunshine Band. I am not. Oh, I couldn't. Well, this was a good day for jury awards. Anybody take the drug Fen-Phen? Remember Fen-Phen, the magic diet pill? Well, apparently it was not good for people with weak hearts. You lost weight and died, apparently. There's something bad happened. Anyway, a jury today awarded $150 million to 5 people who took Fen-Phen. They have finally done it. The American dream has come true. They have a pill to make you rich. 5 people got all this money, and we know this about them. They have weak hearts, they're rich, and Anna Nicole Smith wants their number. Well, now, here's the front page story I really wanted to get to today. You may have seen this if you picked up the paper. An investment banker in New York, rich guy, one of those Wall Street guys, is in big trouble, arrested, charged with leaking information. That is a big no-no on Wall Street, you know. Leaking information, get this, about billion-dollar deals because he was having an affair with a stripper/porno star who apparently was talking to other bankers. It is the first case of inside her trading. That's what they are. And did you see this? You know who John Rocker is? He is the Atlanta Braves relief pitcher. He was in the World Series, lost to the Yankees. Thank you. He is in big trouble. He gave an interview to Sports Illustrated, unleashed a verbal tirade about the city of New York against gays, immigrants. He hates New York. He said, nowhere else do people spit at you. True. Throw bottles, make vulgar comments about your mother. Hey, John, that's nothing. You should see what they did to the Virgin Mary. Okay. Let us meet our panel. He is the president of Judicial Watch and the editor of Opinion Inc., Mr. Tom Fitton, our friend. Right over here, Tom. Good to see you. You're looking dashing.
Thank you.
The host of Biff Naked's rap punk pop invitation, whose her new CD is I Bifficus. This is terrific. And she is Biff Naked. Yeah. Hey. It's a good record.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Hi.
He is a very funny comedian, the very talented host of E! Entertainment's Talk Soup, Mr. Hal Sparks, right over here. Hey, congratulations on your job. She has her own syndicated talk show, and her new special, The Thinning of Hollywood, airs this Sunday on E! Leeza Gibbons, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
I love you. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, one of the big stories this week, aside from the fact that the world is ending in 10 days and will be just nothing more than a nation of surface-dwelling zombies, is Vermont. Vermont, of all places, has pretty much okayed gay marriage. Now, we saw this in Hawaii, but they turned it down, I guess. Never happened in Hawaii.
Said otherwise.
But the Vermont Supreme Court the other day decreed, they said the state must provide gay couples with the benefits and protections that flow from marriage, which was hailed by gay advocates as fabulous. Because we've never heard the phrase, this is my husband Pete, before, and now we can.
There's actually no real argument that people can have on a social level, I think, anymore, because it is so legal now. It's so about mathematics.
13 states.
It's not legal because Congress fought this with the Defense of Marriage Act.
Right.
They passed, which was the defense against this, saying that you can't define marriage as anything but the union of a man and an unhappy woman.
Well, it's
because she wants to be with another woman, probably.
What happened?
Unhappy woman, probably because she wants to be with another woman.
Well, look, Bill.
I don't think this is
continue your thought.
Sorry.
Withdrawing.
Just a thought. Just a, thought.
You're not married, right?
For fear of being alone here,
You're not alone.
there is.
You're not alone.
There's
a lot of attractive
alone
men.
philosophically here. Marriage, other than a man and woman, isn't marriage. Marriage can't be defined any other way. And when you define it this way, you are virtually saying there is no definition of marriage, because if this becomes the definition, then anything could go. What about a man who wants to marry his overage daughter, or a mother wanting to marry her sister, or something like that?
Didn't it?
The point is that marriage is...
You're talking about Woody Allen?
In his case, it happened.
Yeah, that's very funny. But the fact is that marriage is there to protect children. It's the best way to raise children. Heterosexual couples, the biological parents, and it's the best way to do it. And this is what marriage is about. It's about families, and it's about children.
Well, let me give you
some... This would be a disaster for the American family.
Then you're saying that people who, let's say two people are sterile, they can't get married?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, you're saying if it's about children, and it's about... there are two reasons why you get married.
Well, presumably, two men can have babies biologically. Maybe you know something about it that I don't.
Lots of men and women can't have babies biologically. It doesn't stop them. They go to Pfizer, get a shot, and have 7.
But I don't know why people think it's a slap in the face to marriage. It doesn't take anything away from those of us who are married, to my mind.
What is the threat to the other people who are not engaging in this? Why... I thought Republicans were sort of about get the government out of people's lives and let them lead their lives the way they want to.
Well, this is actually the people who have defined marriage over thousands of years as being between a man and a woman. And these are judges who are unelected, they're appointed, who, because of their own personal philosophies, told the Vermont legislature they have to do something now. And that's wrong. If you want to try to advocate to get this done, try to do it.
But marriage...
They did it in Hawaii, interestingly. The Supreme Court made a similar ruling. And what happened was the people said, no, we aren't going to do this, and they changed the Constitution.
Yeah, okay. But marriage, you're trying to say that marriage has this great history.
It does have a great history, Bill.
It does, but not in the way you're talking about. It was originally to pass property along and to keep primogeniture as a system. Okay, so it wasn't about men and women. It was about property.
Well, obviously there's economic aspects to this. This is what this is about, it seems to me, is that people want money that they think married couples get that they don't get.
It's about fairness, it's about equity. I mean, it's also about, and believe me, I'm a big proponent of marriage. It just so happens that heterosexual couples haven't done such a great job of protecting the sanctity of this institution. But look at,
Well, Bill Clinton signed
Well, look, Billy Crystal had the first gay character on soap, 20-something years ago. Now we've got, 30-plus gay and lesbian couples. Maybe that this state was just recognizing that, we're changing. We're transforming our society, and there should be equity.
No, actually, it was a court that decided this. They said that. They're talking about defining it as an intimate relationship, and I'm very interested how this is going to work.
Very intimate.
I'm interested to know how is this going to work practically. You're going to have to fill out forms showing how often that you have sex with someone in order to gain government benefits.
Again, why does it have to be about actual active sex life?
That's what the court's talking about, an intimate relationship. How is it that you define an intimate relationship as only being between two men? Why not let children to get married? Why not let family members get married and have incestuous relationships blessed?
We all know.
There are definitions that are beneficial to us, and marriage between a man and a woman has been beneficial to us. I think so. Bill Clinton thinks so. And I guess the majority of the American people think so, even though many folks here
if you and Bill Clinton are for it, I don't know a better endorsement of marriage than that.
Well,
but you know what? I think it's not saying we're legalizing same-sex marriage. And I know you say it's the same principle, the same net effect.
It does.
It does.
does.
It
That's what
undermines,
they're saying.
it
That's why
undermines
it's
marriage.
such
If you
an
think
important
marriage is
decision.
good, if you think marriage is good,
Does divorce
this is a disaster.
Well, does divorce
that's
undermine?
my
All right. I have to take a break or it'll be a disaster for my job. All right, I want to mention again, we have all new shows next week. When the other shows are off, we'll be new. Good ratings. Okay. Now, Leeza, your show, when is your show on? It's called The Thinning of Hollywood.
Day after Christmas.
Caught my eye. The day after Christmas. Okay, so that's Sunday?
Sunday.
Okay, on E?
At 8.
Sunday at 8 on E. Okay. Now, I've done this issue before, The Thinning of Hollywood, and I must say, I never understand it. You mentioned, it's always the same 3 or 4 people. Lara Flynn Boyle is skinny, we know that. Callista Flockhart is too skinny, get a hot dog in that chick. Courtney Cox. I mean, for every one of them, there's 100 Cameron Manheims out there. I don't understand this obsession with the 10 chicks who won't eat when this nation is eating itself to death.
But you know what? It's not about who has a problem. You can't tell by looking at somebody if they have a problem if they're not eating. It could be that those women that you mentioned are, you know, there's like nothing going on. We don't know. You can't tell. But the suspicion is that the standard for women has become like this Mission Impossible of skinny. Size 0 is now the norm. And there is a zero. There is like, well, but
There's a zero?
There's a 0. But the norm with the real world, like out in the audience,
there's a
there's
zero?
a disconnect. Real size women don't come in that size.
Yeah. Of course, those piercings add a lot of weight when you get on the scale.
Oh, you don't even want to know. I used to have these really big balls
Me
on
too.
the end of it. And it weighs down my lips. No, I have to say
You, me, and
something.
Donald Trump.
Because we live in Canada, I assume that North American culture is always the same, like always one culture. And when we tour down here, I got to tell you, there is so much food in the grocery store.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even kidding.
And
We
people
go to
are
the
eating
supermarket.
it.
They're huge.
We eat it down here. There are Fritos, there are Puppy Tarts, there's all these different things. I'm jingling. All these different things, and it's so exciting, overwhelming to see.
It
how
does have a lot
stocked
to
the
do.
grocery
It does
stores
have a
are.
lot to do with how in America is an obese culture, especially compared
Well, there's
to.
so much food here.
It is. It's as bad a problem as smoking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
and the amount of toxins that people take in and then just hold for the length of their limited little lives, is amazing. It's amazing.
But Bill,
Like they've actually changed the sizes of clothing larger. So a medium is
And
actually
smaller, 'cause
an
that's
old
a
large.
zero.
A large
large
is now a
used to be.
medium.
Right.
Yeah,
Now it's
and a
one
medium
size
is
fits
now
most.
Yeah, but I mean,
I
I have to shop for kids' clothes. 5'8", I weigh 150 pounds.
You know,
Your
this problem
poundage
It's not-
may vary.
The problem is about, this interest in other people's health. You're talking about sex lives and this interest in other people's health. With obesity, about non-smoking and smoking, they're going to do the same thing to fat, what they've done to non-smoking people, the people who smoke. They're going to have to be forced to eat lunches because it's unhealthful. They'll have to be pay
are
special
terribly
taxes
helpful.
on high contact fat food. Where they're talking about taxing snack
if we-
foods
I know.
to deal with the problem of obesity.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Just
It has
everyone just
nothing to
mind
do
their
with
own
that.
business,
What do you mean
whether
it has nothing to
someone's
do with
heavy
that?
or too light.
Why?
It's a personal problem that
What?
they should deal with personally.
But you know what? It's not. It's control. These eating disorders are about control. It's not about, well, why don't you just eat for goodness sakes, or why don't you just
People are
stop
marketed
eating?
to eat, and in mass and in volume, we're like force-fed like mounds of cheap food everywhere you go. It's like
Even advertising.
we live in the world of the 29-cent taco, and it's it's
I
amazing.
never understand why Hollywood focuses on this one little problem when the massive problem is the other
No pun
side of the
intended.
spectrum.
What, are people being too fat, you're saying?
Too many fat actresses?
Yeah. It reminds me, I always say this, the movie Disclosure. Remember the movie Disclosure? Hollywood made a movie about sexual harassment.
Right.
They made it about the woman, Demi Moore harassing the man.
Right.
Yeah, that's the usual
That's
problem with sexual harassment.
A functional metaphor. Yeah.
It's
You
the
don't know.
same
Men don't
thing.
come forward.
It's not like smoking, though. With smoking and and drugs, you can't just say no to that. With food, you can't just say no to food, and I think it's not that
You
hard
can say yes to self-control, and It's not a cultural thing. It's a psychological thing.
There's another element to it, though. Is misrepresentation too in the packaging of foods, for example, like the amount of bovine growth hormone that's in food that affects the human body and makes it balloon up. Seriously though, if you're going, I'm eating a normal amount. I'm eating like a healthy human being.
You're turning her on. I'll tell you that.
Okay, let's keep it straight. And I know that you know the truth. You know the answer to this one. The FDA are separate. The USDA does meat and poultry and dairy. Am I right? And that has nothing to do with the FDA.
Right.
I am a Canadian. I know that. It's not my country. I don't know what goes on.
And they have their own kind of set of rules.
It's a little frightening.
Yeah,
the
very
way
frightening.
The food is down here. It's just a little weird.
It does affect people's bodies differently. You can eat what you would, in some ways, consider a normal amount of food and gain more weight than you normally would eating the same thing because of the amount of stuff we put into it. And then...
That's not true. That's simply not true. Growth hormones in cows don't make you fatter. That's not scientifically true.
But
eating, you shouldn't tell people things like that. That's not true. Eat all the steak you want. Eat it in moderate amounts. It's good for you. Red meat won't kill you as long as you stay sane.
No.
Right.
We got to take a break.
What's the dinner?
Tomorrow, when our guests will be Just Shoot Me's Enrico Colantoni, Mackenzie Phillips, Lisa Ann Walter, and Representative Dana Rohrabacher.
We were talking about eating. You left off saying steak is good for you. I don't think that's true. I don't think anything from a cow is good for you.
Go for colonics.
Yeah.
Colonics?
Have a little colonics. You know, I can recommend someone in Washington. You let me know. I know some people there.
Colonics?
You let me know.
You know
all the damage that he's done from all the steak you want.
You should never have anybody put something up you that way.
Oh.
Not even socially.
To
get back to the... But
can't even deal with where that would go.
But it's for your own good.
No. But I never understood why milk, milk has a fantastic publicist.
Oh, man.
Because they make it sound like it's a good thing for you, and it's actually milk from another mammal that is not you.
Made to make
Speaking of which, listen to this. A couple weeks ago in Maryland, a woman was arrested because she went into a daycare center and saw another baby, not hers, crying with nobody around it, and she whipped out her breast. It would shut me up.
He's getting up.
And
breastfed a strange child?
Breastfed a strange child out of the goodness of her heart, but the wrong breast. Okay. And the woman, the real mother, came in, saw this, called the cops, who came in and made a bust. I kid.
Now, I would have a problem. I would have a problem with that.
You don't have a problem with a stranger?
No, I would have a problem with the mother. I would freak out if someone was breastfeeding my child.
Why?
There ought to be something people should charge for. That sounds like something people should charge for.
It's called a wet nurse, and it wasn't that uncommon a long time ago.
Right.
And in a tribal society, that was very normal.
It takes a village.
We've like to hyper-civilize yourself just because it should be awful is a little odd.
There's a little permission contractual relationship.
She had to be so alone with that child for that to even begin. The kid was obviously alone and screaming.
Come on, what person in today's society... I mean, we should send that person to a doctor who would go in and take another woman's child and breastfeed her. That might have been the rule somewhere else.
She did it out of the goodness of her heart.
I think it's extremely strange. But who knows? Maybe that child, for some reason, is allergic to breast milk.
Well, wait.
I mean, it's not.
What if the mother was HIV and could pass along that through the breast? There's all of that. The reality is,
but wait a second.
That was more about, to me, that mother's needs than the baby's needs. Because a crying baby, was probably not starving, probably could be assuaged some other way if the kid was in daycare. And what is it about that mother that she had to go in and, nurture that child on the spot?
But my point is, they object to another human doing it, but you give it the milk from a cow.
Yeah,
it's good for you. Cow milk is
so not good for you.
You should drink milk. You should drink milk.
No, you shouldn't.
You're depriving
Vitamin
yourself
A and vitamin D added. It would just be
you're depriving yourself of needed nutrients by not drinking milk.
I don't drink milk. I'm not lacking in nutrients.
You are. You have to make it up elsewhere. You need to make it up elsewhere.
You and me. You and I.
You got to make it up.
You and I will jog a marathon next next to each other. Milkman versus me.
I mean, anti-science is one thing. Now we're anti-nature. You know, what's all
Nature. It's natural only for the infants.
Come on.
It's only natural for the infants. You talk about nature.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, no other mammal suckles and drinks milk after infancy.
We do.
We're
doing
saying,
quite
but
well out of it. We drink milk
No, we're not.
because it's
We're a
healthy.
huge fat society with gigantic heart disease and cancer. Why is that good? How come nobody makes that correlation?
Actually, we're an extraordinarily healthy society. We're living longer than ever. And cancer is a symptom of old age rather than milk. And don't blame milk and red meat for cancer.
You know what? Cancer is now almost turned a long-term illness now, a manageable thing. I can't believe I'm almost agreeing with you on something, Tom. It's weird. Like very strange.
Well, it is. It means the millennium is ending and the apocalypse at hand. We better take a commercial in that case.